About 3 months ago, I decided that I wanted to once again start my health journey, to include weight loss, to include eating better, to include addressing inflammation, and to also include just becoming a better rounded person, or a more rounded person. Mind, body, soul connection is what I'm on these days. So how exactly does this play into it? What are my experiences? You might have already gone down the rabbit hole of what seems to be a recent phenomenon or uproar about the whole idea of simply putting one foot in front of the other, even though it's not. Just as I did, I went down the rabbit hole. I did all the research, but the thing that spoke most to me was my experience, and I would love to share that with you now. But first, watch this intro, hit like, and by the time it's over, I'm gonna remind you again to hit subscribe if you really feeling me, even though I think you already feeling me. But yeah, watch this intro and we'll be right back.
Nikki.
So I'm gonna take my camera. Okay, so first I want to introduce myself. If you're new to my channel, my name is Alexia, and if you are returning, welcome back. I encourage you to subscribe and join the tribe, but if you're not ready, at least just stay and enjoy the vibe. So today we're talking about the wonderful world of walking and what were the benefits. And if you don't know, what I like to do is talk about things that probably a million people are talking about, but I like to add my little personal spin to it, or maybe approach it from a way you never talked about or thought about, to add a little bit more value to the conversation that's already occurring. So let's talk about walking. Now, first of all, if you're someone who's looking to get into an exercise routine and you have struggled with it, if you weren't an athlete, if you weren't a habitual, is that the word? If you weren't a consistent worker outerer, exercise junkie, or even you just never did consistent exercise, one of the first things you need to do before you develop a routine is learn your body in a state of movement. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. Most of us sit most of the day. Most of us have office jobs or desk jobs, right? And because of that, a great amount of time is spent sitting, whether it be at your office or in traffic or in class or whatever it is, in church or in your bed, whatever it is, we sit a lot. So one of the first things that walking has done for me, and I actually was an athlete, and I actually have consistently had some kind of workout routine going, but I didn't get acquainted with just the natural movement of my body. There are things that, believe it or not, that I feel like you should fall in love with movement. There are so many exercise programs out there that are intended to shock your body, to get you to a state of increased endurance, increased strength, and that's understandable, but very few of them teach you to just learn your body, love it. Walking gives you the opportunity to feel how each footstep feels, to feel what's off in your body and what's off balance, to listen to your footsteps, to feel what hurts, to feel your arms in stride and focus on your breath without this intense stress of heavy workout routines. Why is that important? Because if you don't even learn to love movement and how movement can feel good, and you go from no movement to movement with a cost associated with it, whether it's soreness, injury, fatigue, you'll never fall in love with just movement. Meaning when you fall off the bandwagon, you fall off to a point of just complete stasis, nothing. So walking teaches you the love of life, movement, breath, stretching, just feeling your feet, your ball heel toe movement on the ground. I'm sorry guys, I'm all over the place. It's very important, and that way if you do choose to increase intensity and you do find a program and you don't like it and it doesn't feel right, that you don't just go back to zero, because walking is something that I think most people learn to love and enjoy. 2, walking gets you outside. I don't think many people consider how much we are deprived of being out in nature. and why that's important. Outside, yes, fresh air, well, for the most part, you know, minus the pollution, but there is actual scientific evidence, and I'm not gonna get into that again. Go down the rabbit hole. It's on Google, it's on YouTube, even some verified peer research articles. But being in nature actually helps your body learn how to relax. It produces hormones that help your body to relax. There's something about being in nature that cannot by any means be fully replicated indoors. And there's a reason for that. We are intended to be outside. We are intended to be in the element. It helps us with our health. If nothing else, from a psychological perspective, being indoors can be very limiting, as much psychologically as physically. Even though you might not consciously process it this way, there is something psychologically limiting about being indoors too much, too often, too many days in a row. Your problems start to become larger than life. Your issues become the focus of your concentration. Okay, let me speak on me, because this is really what it was for me. Problems become larger than what they are. I've always been a person that has found peace in being outdoors, and well, not necessarily being outdoors. I've always been a person that has found peace in looking up at the night sky and watching the stars, seeing sunsets, sunrises, being at the ocean. And I realized that a big reason for that is because this reminds you that there are things so massive and great beyond so big, and mysteries so unknown, that the magnitude of the problem that I'm facing, it really puts it in perspective. It's not to say that your concerns aren't valid, that your worries aren't valid, but it really puts them in a place that they should be in your life. If it's a power bill that came out the blue that has you stressed out, if it's a job that has you stressed out, just remember that life is so much bigger than the issue that you're facing right now. And believe it or not, on a subconscious level, being outdoors reminds you of the vastness of life, the vastness of opportunity, the vastness of the unknown, the reality that we do not have control, that whatever you believe in, God, Mother Nature, the universe has control. So when you limit yourself to an indoor sedentary life, your problems grow and they feed, and they have this tendency to become kind of like your universe and your world. Like I said, nature is so big and massive and mysterious in so many ways that it just reminds me to take a breath, to let what is be, to change what I can and let the rest go. Now, on a physical level, because I know we got some baddies in here. All jokes aside, walking has provided me the reshaping in my body that, I kid you not, I could not get along with intense cardio or working out. It's something about walking that has shrunk my midsection. Now, this could be for so many reasons. I didn't really have a gut like that, but it could be because it reduces the stress hormones, which are the primary villain when it comes to abdominal fat. It just could be the motion in itself, but whatever it is, even when I didn't necessarily lose weight, my body was being reshaped. Now, I was born and partially raised in Hawaii, and I do remember, although I was a child and a youth, we left when I was a teenager, so our bodies change a lot. I'm 42 now. I still think that there's some benefit in acknowledging the fact that I walked more than I ever did in my adult life when I was a teenager and a child in Hawaii. I didn't spend my whole childhood there, but during those times, it was a heavy walking environment to get to the bus, to get to school. It was like a college campus, and my body just, as I matured, listen. So even now as an adult, there's a lot more weight there, a lot more girth, but I've noticed that it's reshaping my body and kind of giving me more of my Coke bottle type shape back. It doesn't change genetics, but it definitely has helped me slim down in the way that most women want to slim down without necessarily trying to target specific areas, which you can't do anyway. And it's in such a peaceful, relaxing, pleasing way. So it's helped me carve out my body, and now I do combine it with weight training. I do spin again, but walking is imperative because I feel like it does the most for me with the least amount of effort and the most benefit. Now this one isn't talked about so much, but I think it's so important, and I don't understand why it's not talked about so much. But if you kind of know about gut health, it makes a lot of sense. Gut health is, when we talk about gut health, we're talking about a microbiome, which consists of bacteria and whatever else is in there. We're not going to get heavily scientific on these, okay? They help basically tell your body what to do. It's like the little brain to your big brain. Your gut health is like, your gut is a whole nother brain for your body. It tells the brain what the body needs. And I think it's the actual first signal for a lot of how the body addresses certain issues, how it addresses disease, how it addresses the natural environment around you, how your body adapts, how the body processes the junk food that you eat or the healthy food you eat. All of that is in your gut. There's so many sciences around it. If you haven't watched, it's on Netflix. I think it's called, listen, I'm gonna insert a picture right here. If you haven't watched it, because it's a documentary about gut health, please do, and you'll get a basic understanding. So what happens when we're indoors all day? Well, our microbiome is influenced heavily by what we eat and touch. Remember that the skin is like, is it the largest organ in the body? Again, not scientific. If it's not, it's the second largest. I think the skin is the largest organ in the body. It is a living part of your body, and I think we forget that. So everything we touch and put on it, our body reads it as a signal. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it reads it as a signal. So when you go outside, you get exposed to diversity in ecosystem. You get all of the plants, animals, trees, and while that might sound disgusting to you, it's actually excellent for your gut microbiome. I saw some studies online where it actually talked about a lot of times when people suffer from inflammation, they are starting to connect the dots between people who live more of an indoor sedentary life versus those who are more exposed to Mother Nature. Inflammation, inflammatory diseases, all of that. I can tell you from a personal experience, since I have been outside, not only have I noticed an increase in energy, but I've noticed a decrease in my inflammatory responses in my body. What are those? Well, I was already on the path to improving my gut health, so let me be very transparent about that through probiotics, prebiotics, things like that, adding super greens to some of my drinks every now and then, kind of trying to do a lot of natural things to promote gut health. And I saw some improvements, but when I started walking outside, when I tell you my acne has completely cleared. Now, I still get a bump here and there, but the chronic acne, So and it's still a process. It's still a process. I do have on makeup, but so much better. I have been diagnosed with psoriasis and eczema. My psoriasis, while still present, is improving the more that I'm outdoors. It's crazy. I can't tell you the why. I can only give you my testimony to consider. My bowels, while still they get disrupted around my time of the month, or if I have too much dairy, I will also say that I'm able to handle dairy in increments a little bit better than I was before. I don't know if that's from going outside, but I can tell you that my gut health has improved. My waist, I'm not as bloated as I was before. There's something to it. So you don't have to understand every single in and out of it. Just know that I promise you there are benefits to it. And if you give yourself a month of walking outdoors, you will find yours. I don't have too much more for you, but just try it. I think in this society, oftentimes we go for the most intense thing to solve our problems. We don't really feel like we're making changes or doing anything unless we're breaking our backs in the process. I want to tell you that is the biggest lie that has been sold in Western societies. You do not have to be suffering and sweating excessively and in pain to be doing something productive and helpful, especially for yourself. We tend to associate value to things that have the most cost associated with them, the most effort and labor, but sometimes the simplest answer is the best answer. Try walking out, you won't regret it. So if you made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your experience with walking. I think now I'm down about 11 pounds, but to be completely transparent, I am doing calorie deficit and watching what I eat. But I will say again, the body reshaping did occur even without the weight loss, which is crazy. I can't tell you which one it was. Was it the decrease in cortisol? Was it the increase in vitamin D from being outside? I didn't even mention that part. I think a lot of us are vitamin D deficient, and so it helps with mood and all of that, as well as our immune systems and how our body processes things just from being out in the sun. But that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, tell me what your experience has been with it. And again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.